Welcome. Today we're going to tear apart a Campark Panoview 360 camera. I bought 3 of these guys for their lenses. Spec wise they're great. I did notice before I bought the 3 of them that nowhere in the spec sheets, even on the company website, CamPark does actually have a website, does it say what sort of sensor is in this or what chipset drives it. And really that's these cameras failing. Basically I was looking to put together a 3-camera rig with a wide field of view, lenses that have a really wide field of view. This isn't a review about these cameras, although if someone asked me if they should buy them, I would reply only if you want a toy. Basically these lenses are technically 235 field of view, so they're bigger than 220, but the quality gets somewhat dodgy close to the edges, which is not unusual for such wide angle lenses. If anyone has ever played around with DSLR lenses, then yeah, you know that the quality drops off quite a lot towards the fringes of the lens. The sweet spot is definitely in the center. That said, I think these lenses are good. They're clear, and if they come out and they're usable, then I think they'll work just fine. So let's not muck around, let's take this thing apart. So the camera comes, this is the side bit here where you've got your on off and start button. This was my worry that it'd be hard to get out, but what it is actually quite simple. It just flips in like this, and if I was to press down on that side, so this is the side away from the LCD screen, that would just click in. Yeah, so to get it out, best way is working away from the side that's not on the LCD side. On this side, just get your fingernail in there, especially on the corner, and start prying it up. It takes a bit of feckling, but it does come up, and it basically pops off. So woohoo! From what I can tell from the design is there is only one screw, and the screw is down there in the tripod now. So we shall try to unscrew it. So let's just see. Get it prying. Hey, like magic. Seems to pop off quite easily. Voila! It's come apart. Question is, how does the rest of it come apart? Okay, there's 1 screw there, 2 screws, 3 screws, 4 screws, and 2 more in the middle. So 6 screws all up. And hopefully the whole thing will come out. There is a screw here as well. Now, before I bought these cameras, of course, I did my YouTubing. The quality issue was mentioned quite a lot, and whilst they're not horribly expensive, they still come at fairly premium prices, especially if they're No good. I thought this just a piece of foam, probably just to keep that LCD in place there. What? The whole thing's sliding out. Oh, it's on the ribbon cable. Okay, we don't want to break that. Or maybe it is just these, you know, plugs here, which if we can get them just out a little bit. Oh, here she comes. So just prying this up. This is the side with the plugs. After getting all the screws out, get it in there, pry it up just so that they clear the sides, and like magic, gently wiggling and jiggling, the whole thing slides out. Oh, there she is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, here it is. Like magic. So that's the whole housing assembly. Oh look, there was another screw in there. God damn it. See that? Right there. Thank you, CamPark engineers. So, but actually, so those screws down the bottom, all they do is hold this silver ring on. So you don't need to get those out. So that's the housing. Yay, let's have a look at Mr. Camera. So first thing straight up, look at the lens. It's got some weight to it. In fact, not, you know, most of the weight here is from that lens. Alright, what do we got? Nothing much to tell us about the sensor. We are going to have to get this circuit board off. There is one, it looks like just one screw holding it on. We got the other one up here, so I think if we get this screw off without the dangly then we shall be able to look at the circuit board on the other side. So this daughter board on this side, they're connected, yeah, so it's an L shape. Okay, it's ribbon, so that ribbon is for the sensor, and it seems that the only thing stopping it at the moment is this speaker wire. So speaker wire is going across. I have no doubt that this is just glued on, so we're just going to pry it up. A little bit of button glue there. Oh yeah, there she goes. We are out of the housing. The octopus has arrived. Let's see if we can get this ribbon cable thing out. She's a flip up. Yep, flip her up. And out comes the sensor. Hey, here's the magic lens with the magic sensor. That back plate's glued on. So the only way we're going to really be able to test this, I think, is to unscrew it, which is great because I mean that's what I want the lens, yeah. So it looks like the main chipset. See that really black thing there? Painted over, I mean, as in. I would say that's the main chipset with no markings on it. CamPark engineers again. Well done. Good work. So there's a number. That's probably about as close as I can get. Anyway, I think we've reached the end of our investigation here. And there's some serial numbers here. I believe it's just a card reader, right? You'd think that maybe that could be, yeah, No, actually I've got no idea. Let us dig into the sensor and the lens, shall we? This is what we came for. I'm thinking there's just a bit of hot glue holding it together. Oh, let's see if running a knife along the edge here loosens the glue. Yep, there she goes. Lovely. There's the sensor. A tiny little bugger. Still no real indication. Oh, it's got number 2 on there. No real indication about, you know, what sort of sensor is actually there. Maybe if I pried up this back plate. I'm still reluctant to do that. So let's have a bit of a gander at the lens. See if we can peel off this glue. So at this stage there's nothing left to do but to try this in Mr. GoPro over here. Okay, so here's the GoPro lens. Let's just see how that length compares. That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try screwing the lens. This is about as far as this thing screws in. The reason for it not being able to focus is because the GoPro, this is the cowling around the original lens. Basically it protrudes too far up. I'm just going to take it out. So the main board here, the sensor and everything attaches to this aluminium plate. So if I try screwing this in, essentially it stops. That aluminium cowling is stopping it there from screwing in far enough for it to be in focus. The only way I'm going to get that to focus with this particular lens is to cut that off. Basically the silver cover goes in around this, you know, oval shaped part of the cowling here. Means that I can then screw this lens in essentially, you know, all the way down, which is probably where it needs to go for it to be in focus. Maybe not that far, but the point remains that it'll be somewhere around there. So what we're going to do is basically take Mr. GoPro apart in order to do this. Essentially, if I'm going to cut this off, I will most likely do so on a disc sander, which I happen to have downstairs in the shed. And but I need to get all the electronics off of this because there'll be metal shavings, and this is something you definitely do not want to have with your electronic. Okay, so now for this whole LCD assembly, I'm just going to pop that out. I happen to use some double-sided tape to stick it down just behind here. I just want to be really gentle. I mean, it's brand new tape. Do not want to damage this. I've ground this down. I've taken it to the disc sander. If you don't have a disc sander, a file or even some sandpaper laid flat on a table might do the trick. Now I didn't take it all the way down. I left a little bit of a lip there. I think that's going to be enough to get the lens in. And leaving a little bit of a lip means that I may be able to put the original cowl, which separates, you know, because I've got a feeling this lens will stick up a little bit in this cowl. So let us reassemble this guy and hope for the best. This was a real pain to get off. Hopefully I didn't damage it. I've still got some aluminium shavings along here. I'm hoping I've managed to get most of them off. Hoping whatever's left is not gonna be a hassle. Now I'm not going to glue this down this time because I'm inclined to think that I may have to take it apart again. So this is a test fit for now. Everything's just going to be quite loose but connected. That'll do. This thing goes in next. Okay, we have a image. Much better focus this time around than it was before, but that's pretty much getting in focus right there. Close enough for it to be usable. So just to sum it up, CamPark Panoview 360 camera, bought just for the lenses. Will fit a GoPro 3. If it fits this, it'll fit other cameras, which is great. The one downside is, as you can see here, the sensor crop on, so you don't get a full circle on the on what the camera sees, which is a bit of a downside. The CamParks had actually worked this out to the point where yeah, it was all within view. It seems to be sort of, you know, the bottom edge here is within the sensor and the top edge is cut off a little bit, so perhaps it just needs to be screwed down a bit further or something. At this stage I'm going to call that a success. Now you can buy these lenses by themselves, I think on Amazon, eBay, but they're 70 to 80 Australian dollars just for the lens. You buy a CamPark camera for about $100, you get all the accessories that come with it, and you get some spare cameras of dubious quality to actually muck around with. You know, there's a secondary use. So is it worth buying CamPark cameras just for the lenses? Yeah, based on these results, yeah, I would say so. I get some wide-angle lenses to fit into some 4K action cams to use for 360-degree shooting. So there you go. Just wanted to show you, so this is a partly reassembled CamPark. The lens is off. I have some eBay special 220 FOV security cam lenses that I found a while back, and obviously the thread is a lot shorter than the original lens there. The good part is that it actually works. Here is the footage that the camera is seeing. I'm just going to screw that lens up a little at this stage to try to get it in focus. There I am in the frame, so the point is to try to focus on me. So yeah, I mean, it needs tweaking obviously and fine-tuning, but the good news is that we can actually reuse the CamPark cameras, although probably not in their original housings, for other nefarious purposes.